All right, so today we're going to take a look at chapters 5 and 6 of the Mindset book. Starting with chapter 5, which is about business and the mindsets that are in regards to business and how important it is to have a growth mindset instead of a fixed mindset. And she goes into examples in the book about how some situations and all that go down depending on if you have a fixed mindset or if you have a growth mindset. Taking a look at a quote that I thought was interesting, or a section actually kind of was on page 111. It's under the section A Study of Mindset and Management Decisions. So kind of a little summary is, they have two guys, Robert Wood and Albert Bandura, who did a study with graduate students in business to kind of determine the differences between the growth and fixed mindset and how that can affect different people in the business world, and how important it is to have a fixed mindset. So they talk about how the people with a fixed mindset, both groups were given, divide them into two groups of fixed and growth mindset, and they gave both groups tough tasks, but told the fixed mindset that they would have to do it. They measured their basic capabilities and didn't really give them the chance to learn from it. It was just kind of if you can do well, it's because you were meant to do well kind of thing. But for the growth mindset, they were told that they could develop their skills over time, and that practicing those skills would be able to help them cultivate those skills better, as it says in the book. So talk about how those in the fixed mindset group fell short and they didn't succeed in their early attempts. But then it says on the bottom of page 111, but those with the growth mindset kept on learning, not worried about measuring or protecting their fixed abilities. They looked directly at their mistakes, used the feedback, and altered their strategies accordingly. They became better and better at understanding how to deploy and motivate their workers, and their productivity kept pace. In fact, they ended up way more productive than those with a fixed mindset. What's more, throughout this rather grueling task, they maintained a healthy sense of confidence. So it just kind of shows that how important it is that that leadership isn't something that necessarily comes right away. It's something that you have to work on, you have to develop in order for it to become as good as need be in the business world, or in order to help both yourself grow and help your employees grow. So taking a look at it says, can your mindset help establish you as a leader within business, even necessarily if you're not officially in a management position? I believe, yeah, that's definitely for sure. I mean, you can walk in with the growth mindset every day, and just work on bettering yourself, and even working to better those around you, and it'll help you learn, help you become better. So in the one day where you do become do enter a leadership position, it'll help you right away, because you have that growth mindset and you have that ability to both lead yourself and be productive and all that, and lead others as well. And just how important that is to run a successful business and be part of a successful business. That if all your employees have a growth mindset, they're always working harder, working to learn in order to better the business. Let's take a couple examples from this. Like one of the good ones was on page 129. It talked about the IBM and how after some issues with the company and how they were kind of falling down, they were struggling. They kind of entered a phase where they were very elitist, and they're very much on kind of their high horse, I guess you can kind of say, is that they were very focused on themselves and how to better themselves, but weren't focused enough on helping their customers. And eventually they decided to change that after they were struggling and they were lacking, and they went to help their customers. They changed their mindset to help their customer. And while the returns didn't necessarily happen right away, but down the stretch, it really helped their company. They went up stock went up by 800%, and they got back to where they had been in the past, which had been one of the most successful tech companies during that time period. And then a negative from this section was the AOL and Time Warner merger, and how they had their two. It's on page 121. They had two people that were in charge of that company. They didn't get along. They both had fixed mindsets that they were the ones that were right. They were the ones that were in charge. And they came back and they struggled to merge, and eventually their companies kind of faltered, and they lost, I believe it was like $100 million in that year. which is it was record at that time as incredibly poor for business. See, just being able to understand that the growth mindset is how it's going to help either grow yourself and potentially grow your business in a way that doesn't focus on becoming like what IBM did. They became elitist. You want to be able to put your customers first, and not necessarily put your own needs first. That's something big in business. So I guess moving to chapter 6 then, which is about relationships. And the chapter is relationships, mindsets, and love or not. So I guess the first thing it says here is take a look at a relationship that I would like to have and the traits that I feel are important. Some of the stuff that I kind of thought about were constant support, I guess, is a big one. Being able to trust your significant other at that point, that they will be there for you, they'll be willing to help you out when you need it, and support the decisions you're willing to make. I think it's important to be able to work together alongside them and not necessarily try to be dominated by one person. Working together to make decisions for the family is very important, I believe. And I think one of the last things is to look to constantly improve the relationship instead of it just kind of staying stagnant. And I guess it can just get old or worn. If you're not in you always got to work to improve and be better towards each other. So in the second part of that, a quote from the chapter that resonated with me a little bit, or a section. It's on page 151. There's a section that's titled Mindsets Falling in Love, and she talks about how so far having a fixed mindset has meant believing your personal traits are fixed, but in relationships, 2 more things enter the picture: your partner and the relationship itself. Now you can have a fixed mindset about 3 things. You can believe that your qualities are fixed, your partner's qualities are fixed, and the relationship's qualities are fixed. That it's inherently good or bad, meant to be or not meant to be. Now all these things are up for judgment. But it just shows that once you're in a relationship, like she says, there's 3 different things 3 different mindsets you kind of have to worry about. It's no longer just your own mindset. You have to understand the other person's mindset and the mindset of the relationship itself in order to do both better yourself, better your partner, and work together in order to kind of make sure that mindset isn't fixed. Otherwise, it's got I think we've kind of flat, and nothing will ever really happen. In my opinion, it's kind of going to stay where it was on day one, I believe, or it is initially, and will never kind of either improve or grow. So the third part of this is why I believe this section is meaningful when thinking about like future relationships and all that. So like I said, kind of right. If you're always fixed. If your mindset's always fixed in the relationship, you're not really going to take any steps forward. You're just kind of be walking in place, so to speak. You're not really going forward. You're going to be either just staying still, or you're probably going to end up going backwards too. And if the mindsets stay fixed, there isn't really any room to change or fix any issues you may have. You're just going to focus on the issues, potentially get caught up in those issues. And that eventually will lead to issues down the road. And if sitting in that fixed mindset, once again, for all 3 of them, or just one person potentially too, those issues won't get resolved, and they're just going to kind of stick, and they'll keep coming up, and it doesn't lead to a healthy relationship in the long run. It'll lead to something that's probably short term and won't really be a benefit to you or the partner. So it's always important to have that growth mindset and be constantly looking to improve the relationship and learn more from your partner, learn from yourself, and how to get better in the long run. So those are the summaries for chapters 5 and 6.